Hi guys, welcome to my tutorial today on how to cut your vinyl for layering. This is part one. This video is going to show you how I set up my cutting on my Silhouette Cameo screen, on my Silhouette Studio screen. I don't have the designer edition, just going to put that out there again, and I also have a Mac. So some of my mouse clicks or keyboard clicks may be a little bit different, but I think you can get the basic idea of how to do this. So I'm going to start by showing you this. This is the file that I'm going to be looking at. It's a giraffe, a mom and baby giraffe from the Silhouette online store. This is a really adorable file. And one thing that I really like to do is look at the original because that can give you a good idea of what the colors need to look like. And so I know this is small, but if you just see, we have a yellow giraffe and some brown spots, hoof, tail, fur, and a black eye. Pretty similar over here on the baby as well. So when you open this file, this is exactly what it looks like. You're going to have to ungroup this file to be able to use the individual pieces. And sometimes this just takes a few clicks because sometimes you have to release the compound path, sometimes you have to ungroup, sometimes it takes a combination of those clicks to get the pieces that you want. So I'm going to release the compound path first because there are so many different pieces to this part. I have a feeling that they're grouped by the shape. So I'm going to release the compound path and see what happens. Nothing, which is fine. So I'm going to ungroup next. And still nothing. So we're going to go back and release it again. And ungroup it again. There it is. We finally get what we want. What combination works? I have no idea, and I don't even have a way of explaining it really. I just kind of keep clicking because eventually one of those combinations of clicks is gonna ungroup everything for you. The file is set up in a certain way, and that's the way that the clicks need to go to get it to do what it needs to do. So now that you can tell all my pieces are ungrouped, what I'm going to do, because we had to release the compound path, I'm going to zoom in, zoom back out just a smidge, there we go. I want to keep my dots with my overall shape. I don't want to lose that because if I just click right now, I'm going to lose that, and that's not what I want. I want to keep those dots together, and I'll explain why in just a minute. So on a Mac, to hold all this together, I have to hold down Shift and select each piece that I want. And I just want to keep all of that. I don't want it to go away. Then you're going to make it a compound path again. And that just pulls all of that together. You see? And I'm going to do the same for the baby. And make a compound path again. Okay, so I have a lot of pieces hanging out on the side that I'm just going to ignore for now because the next step that I do is I put everything in the color of the vinyl that I'm going to cut. And that will really help you see exactly how it's going to look when it's layered. So looking back at my original image, I can see that I've got brown spots and a yellow body. To get that effect, our bottom layer is actually going to be brown. And you'll see why in just a minute. And our top layer is going to be yellow. Okay, so if I move this over here, you can see that how that's going to look perfectly. I mean, you can see exactly what the end result's going to be. So this one decided that it needs to be arranged differently. So I'm going to click my brown. I'm going to send that to the back. And move my little giraffe. Excuse my iMessages. I have that set up on my laptop for iMessages to come in. Okay, so there's my little giraffe. And if you're like me, I'm kind of looking at this thinking it looks complete. I don't really see the need to use all these extra pieces. I mean, maybe I'm missing something, but I feel like once I cut my vinyl in the brown and my vinyl in the yellow, that's going to layer exactly how I want it to go. Looking back at my original, yeah, I think the only thing that I'm missing is my little brown eyes. So if you wanted to, you could pull that over here. But I think it's fine as is. I mean, it looks pretty cute like that. So I'm just going to delete all this extra junk. I may regret that when I cut, but I don't think so. I think it looks like it's going to be just fine. So there it is. That's how I separate everything for layering. My biggest tip is to put it in colors. That's going to be so helpful to you, is to put it in color. That way you can really figure out how everything needs to be cut. Because here's the thing. If I really didn't know how this needed to be cut and I got this backwards and I put this in yellow and this guy in brown, when I put this on top, I could look and see, oh, wait a minute, that's not how that needs to look. So it's really a very helpful thing to put that in the colors that it needs to be. When you get ready to cut, I'm just going to look. 7 inches is fine. I'm actually doing this for a project, so I'm going to keep that at 7 inches. And another good tip is to select the two colors that need to be together and group those. You can do that also by clicking and dragging your mouse onto both shapes. Group. So when I go to cut my vinyl, these two guys are going to be right there next to each other, spaced out exactly how I want them to be. So stick around for part 2, because after I have these two shapes cut in my appropriate colors, I am going to show you how to layer these. Thanks for watching.